Everybody wants to win a championship. I'm not playing not to win the championship. I'm playing to be the best.
I think Mike Budenholzer, the coach, could be in trouble.
I have the feeling that everybody's in a panic mode, which is should not be the case.
So look, for the last few seasons, everybody's thought of the Bucks as a contender, and even though last year they went out in a very disappointing series against the Miami Heat in the playoffs, I think that everybody, or at least most people, probably still considered them to be a contender going into this season. But right now, it's starting to look like they're in trouble. So now you might be thinking, well, what exactly is wrong with them? They're 19 and 13. They're third in the Eastern Conference. That's not terrible, but it's not really what you would expect from a contender, you know? Looking at their roster, they have an MVP and some really good players around them. So what exactly is the problem here? So when you take a closer look at the Bucks, you begin to realize that their defense is what is letting them down here. Their scheme is just not suitable for the modern NBA. They're 27th in the league in opponents' three-pointers made per game, and they're 18th in the league in points allowed per game. So obviously the three-pointer thing is very concerning if you're trying to be a contender in the modern NBA. And to be in the bottom half of the league in points allowed per game, again, like that's just not something that a contender can allow. So they need to figure this out rather quickly, or their goal of winning a championship is probably not going to come true. Something Coach Nick pointed out was how much emphasis they place on stopping drivers to the rim, sometimes bringing three guys to the driver, which obviously leaves shooters wide open. And also, he pointed out how often they help one pass away, which is the easiest pass to a shooter in the game you can make. So that leads to an abundance of threes for opponents. So they're currently actually on a 3 game win streak, but before this, they lost 5 in a row, two of them being to the Raptors. And listen, I'm a diehard Raptors fan, but the Raptors team is not it this year. You should not have lost to the Raptors two straight in the fashion that they did. Like, I mean, they weren't blowouts, I wouldn't say, but they weren't close. And if you consider yourself a contender, you can't be losing to a middle of the pack team like that 2 times in a row, in my opinion. Now, to be fair, they have been missing Drew Holiday for a number of games, and he is one of the best defenders on their team. He's one of the best players on their team in general, probably their second or third best player. But I don't think that one guy is going to make the difference unless it's a LeBron James or like a superstar caliber player, because not one guy on the team can completely make up for how many threes they're giving up. It's just not how it works. Now, Max Kellerman on First Take said that they need an elite guard. And Drew Holiday is a very, very good guard. He's one of my favorite players in the league. But Max Kellerman compared it to how Shaq needed Kobe to get over that hump, sort of thing. And obviously, Drew Holiday's not Kobe, but there's not a whole lot of Kobe's just freely available in a league like that. So I don't know if that's gonna exactly be their answer. To be honest, I think it all comes back to their defense, and they just need to make that switch. And I've seen a lot of people suggesting they trade Brook Lopez, maybe get a better defensive center, because all he really does is shoot threes. But you can find a good defensive center who can also shoot threes. That might be a viable answer. But again, it always comes back to what else do you have to give up in that scenario. The thing with Lopez is that he's not an elite rim protector. But also, if you dive into some film of the Milwaukee Bucks, there's so many occasions where he closes out just half-heartedly to the three-point line, just giving the shooter so much time, or he doesn't even put a hand up at all. So I really think he's just a huge defensive liability out there. That mixed with the scheme is just a recipe for giving threes up all day, and it's obviously not working out very well for them right now. So they need to do something about it. So in the meantime, while they look into this trade, I think that they should play Giannis some more at the five, because as long as they can rebound, they'll be good. Obviously, in the NBA, there's tons of examples of teams going small and it working out well. Just look at the Warriors. Um, but again, like, I'm not trying to hate on Brook Lopez. I think he's a good basketball player, but defensively, he just drains their life. Like Coach Nick said, from B-Ball Breakdown again, he said that if Brook Lopez is not hitting two or three of his own threes, then it's not even balancing it out. Like, he's just dragging the team down at that point if he's not hitting them. So I don't know what they're going to do. Again, I don't have all the answers. I'm not an NBA coach. I'm not trying to hate on anybody or spread any hate. I'm just saying it how I see it. But again, in my opinion, the Bucks' issues really just boil down to the fact that they can't defend the three ball. They put way too much emphasis on defending the drivers, like sometimes bringing 2 and 3 guys, and then the ball handler literally just has options of who he can pass to, and then they can swing it around the perimeter if they want. They can literally do whatever they want. So again, they just need to figure it out defensively. They need to maybe trade Brook Lopez, and I think they'll be good as long as they can figure that all out, because obviously they have Giannis, and I think that you're always going to have a chance to win when you have a player of his caliber. But at the end of the day, if you're not evolving, you're dying, and it's no secret that NBA offenses every season are moving towards shooting more and more threes. And if you're giving up a lot of threes, you're literally just playing into the hands of your opponent, and I think we can all agree that that does not sound like a recipe for success. Now, I didn't just make this to crap all over the Bucks. I do think that they have a lot of potential, and I hope that they figure it out, because honestly, it will make for a lot more interesting series in the playoffs, because right now I think we all know that the Nets are going to probably roll through the East. So it would be interesting to see a team give them some trouble. Now, I think that the Bucks do have a lot of pieces too. Like Chris Middleton's one of the most underrated players in the league. You don't really hear much about him. I think he's averaging 21 points a game. Drew Holiday, as I mentioned before, one of the best defensive guards in the league. He can also create his own shot. Bryn Forbes, he's a great player. Torrey Craig, great player. All these guys, man, they just need to figure out their issues defensively, and then they're going to be good. Because I think offensively they could do a lot of damage. Obviously, you got Giannis. That he's an MVP. What else can I say? So it'll be interesting to see what type of adjustments they make moving forward. I hope that they figure it out again, because I want to see the playoffs be interesting. But hey, if you guys enjoyed this, leave a like, subscribe. More coming soon, and thank you for watching.